Okay.
Yeah.
What if the place you thought you could escape from was actually able to escape into your world? Brain Juice HQ is here again. Welcome back. Today, we're diving into one of the biggest supernatural horror releases of 2026, Insidious: Out of the Further. The sixth movie in the Insidious franchise is finally here, and this time, the horror isn't simply about entering the Further. The real nightmare is what happens when the Further starts coming back with you. So, is this new chapter actually worth watching? And does it still have what it takes to make Insidious scary again? Let's find out.
The Insidious franchise has been terrifying audiences since the original movie arrived back in 2010. What made the first films different was the idea of the Further, a dark supernatural realm filled with lost souls and dangerous entities. And now, after 5 previous movies, the franchise is opening that door again.
But you can do something I didn't know was possible.
But this time, we're following a new family. The story centers on Gemma, played by Amelia Eve. Gemma is a young mother who returns to the house where she grew up, together with her daughter. And that's when things start getting seriously disturbing, because Gemma discovers something unusual about herself. She can enter the Further. But that's not the terrifying part. She can also bring things from the Further back into our world. And once the entities realize what she can do, Gemma becomes their target. This is where Out of the Further introduces one of its most interesting ideas. In previous Insidious movies, the Further was essentially a terrifying destination, a place where spirits could hide, a place where people could become trapped, a place that was separated from our reality. But what happens when that separation starts to disappear? That's the central nightmare of this movie. The boundary between our world and the Further is becoming weaker, and if the spirits can cross that boundary, then nobody is safe, not even inside their own home. The official synopsis describes Gemma's ability as something that completely changes the rules. She doesn't simply travel into the Further. She can bring what lives there back with her. And suddenly, the real world becomes a playground for supernatural entities. That's a terrifying concept because the danger is no longer somewhere far away. It's right here. And of course, there's one familiar face horror fans will immediately recognize: Elise Rainier. Lynn Shay returns as the legendary paranormal investigator. Elise has been one of the most important characters throughout the Insidious franchise, and her return gives this new story a connection to everything that came before it. But this time, Elise isn't simply dealing with another haunted house. She's dealing with a situation where the Further itself appears to be breaking through into reality. And that raises a big question. If even Elise is struggling to understand what's happening, what chance does an ordinary family have?
Hi.
We were really happy. Had some sleep until I started having these dreams.
One of the biggest changes in Out of the Further is that we're not simply following the Lambert family again. Instead, the movie introduces a new protagonist and a new family. That gives the franchise an opportunity to expand its mythology. And honestly, that's exactly what a sixth movie needs. Because after multiple installments, simply repeating the same formula wouldn't be enough. The new movie is directed by Jacob Chase, the filmmaker behind Come Play. James Wan and Lee Winnell are also back as producers, helping maintain the connection to the original Insidious universe. So while this is a new story, the DNA of the original franchise is still here. The creepy atmosphere, the supernatural mythology, the sudden appearances, and of course, the Further. But let's talk about what horror fans actually want. Is it scary?
Well, the movie definitely understands what kind of horror audiences expect from Insidious. We're talking about disturbing supernatural imagery, eerie environments, and creatures that seem to appear when you least expect them. The trailer itself already gives us a glimpse of that. But there's something more interesting happening underneath the jump scares. The movie plays with the idea that your own ability can become your greatest weakness. Gemma's power allows her to interact with the further, but that same power makes her visible to the things living there. It's almost like turning on a flashlight in a room full of monsters. You can see them, but now they can see you too. And that's what makes the premise work.
So, is Insidious Out of the Further worth watching? If you're already a fan of the franchise, this is an easy recommendation. You're getting another journey into the Further, a new protagonist, returning mythology, and the return of Lin Shaye as Elise. The movie also arrives at an interesting time for horror. Audiences are constantly looking for horror movies that can create something beyond simple jump scares, and Out of the Further tries to expand the mythology rather than completely starting over. However, early reviews have been mixed. Some critics have praised individual creepy sequences and the return of Elise, while others have criticized the story for feeling too familiar and overly complicated. So if you're expecting the next horror masterpiece, you might want to lower your expectations. But if you simply want to spend 2 hours in a dark theater wondering what is hiding behind the next door, this movie may still deliver exactly what you're looking for.
At the end of the day, Insidious Out of the Further is taking one of the franchise's oldest ideas and turning it upside down. The Further was always the place you were afraid to enter. Now, it's the place you're afraid might enter you. And that might be the most disturbing part of the entire concept. The movie officially opened in theaters on August 21st, 2026, with Amelia Eve, Brandon Perea, and Lin Shaye leading the cast. So now I want to hear from you. Do you think Insidious still has what it takes to be scary? And more importantly, would you enter the Further if you knew you might not be able to come back alone? Let me know in the comments. If you enjoyed this breakdown, hit that like button, subscribe to Brain Juice HQ, and turn on notifications because we've got plenty more movies, mysteries, and Hollywood stories coming your way. This is Brain Juice HQ, and remember, some doors should never be opened. I'll see you in the next one. Stay curious, stay awake, and whatever you do, don't look behind you.